Hi, that's Brandon.
That's Jamie.
And we need movies.
We do indeed.
This is a show where we talk about the week that was in films. We talk about the movies that have been released or coming out.
Movies we watched that week.
New or old, could be anything. And the news of the week. So let's get right into it, actually. Movies we watched.
Okay. Well, Jamie, we watched, after last week's episode, Jamie and I sat down and watched Room. What did you think, Jamie? I had already seen this movie. He had not. What did you think, Jamie?
I never got a chance to see it because of its indie status, if you will. Mm-hmm. Had I seen it earlier, when we made our top 15s, it would have definitely been in there. I think it would have been top 5. So at first you assume, like, okay, this girl's captured. I'm not going into much of it because it's better. The less you know, the better. This girl's captured, and it feels like a Lifetime movie in terms of its plot. But the halfway point really shifts things in a way that I never expected. And it's more about the psychological aspects of being trapped in a room. And I really like that a lot.
I really loved it, and this was only the second time I saw it, so it was a good good rewatch. Again, not really a buddy movie you sit down to with your best buds drinking a beer to. It's not like people probably don't have room parties. They have the room parties.
Oh, the room is,
film.
Yeah. But we drank to it.
We did. It was a weird experience. The movie that I watched or rewatched this week was The Butterfly Effect. This is actually the Zavvi exclusive steelbook here. Oof. Pretty classy looking. This movie I feel was really unjustifiably destroyed by critics.
Yes.
Critics really seem to hate this one. This seems to be one of those movies that has a big divide between critics and fans because it's got a good rating on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes by fans, not necessarily by critics. But I like the time travel aspects of it. There were a lot of parts rewatching it that I can understand how critics may have had a problem with it.
Yep.
Certain performances aren't necessarily great. There are plot holes and whatnot, but I feel like it has such a cool idea at its core. And I will say that I'd never seen the theatrical version ever until probably a couple years ago when I saw it. I caught it at the tail end on TV, and the ending of the theatrical version is so vastly different than the director's cut. And the director's cut was which I thought it always ended. It's just a much more somber and depressing ending, but I've always liked the director's cut ending. I think it's more impactful, and it lends itself to that whole scope of that story.
I'd seen it in theaters, and I thought that was a pretty good ending. It was for what it was, but when I seen the director's cut ending after, I'm like, oh my god, like what a dour end.
Oh, it's crazy,
that film.
and
it's cool. So I didn't watch a lot this week, but for my 52 pickup this week, I watched Evolution. Honestly, I was a little more upset. I was disappointed compared to what I thought I would do, like watching it again. It's mostly because the visual effects are so bad now. Oh, are they? Okay. I haven't seen this movie in probably good 2 or 3 years, but I've always liked Evolution. I thought it was another underrated, kind of underperformed at the box office, and I've always thought that was a fun little sci-fi comedy. No, it was fun, but the special effects really pulled me out. So it opens with Sean William Scott trying to train for a firefighter.
I wish he would do more movies.
I know.
It's sad that he's one of those people that just fell off the map pretty much.
And he's training to be a firefighter. He's in the middle of nowhere with his little blow-up doll in a burning house or shack that he sets on fire. And a meteor crash lands to Earth. And then there's this goo that comes out of it. It's like primordial soup essentially, and it's alien DNA. It's different. It evolves at a rapid rate. So it starts single-celled, multi-cell, and then it goes to these fully functioning creatures a step below us, which would have been cool to see what they did if it was a human-like creature. I never got to that level.
Right.
But it was really funny. Orlando Jones, who never, speaking of dropping off the face of the earth, I mean, he was in 7-Up commercials, he was on Mad TV, and then he did start doing a couple films, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
Julianne Moore, David Duchovny is the lead. Evolution overall was pretty fun.
Who directed Evolution again?
Ivan Reitman.
You're right. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Next one I watched was Fargo. Rewatched Fargo.
Never heard of it.
Hadn't seen it in a while, and I recently watched both season 1 and 2 of the show, which is just as good, honestly. And I find that weird to say, but I love this film. Just a great black comedy, very well written, awesome characters. This is one of those movies, though, that it gets you stressed out watching William H. Macy's character. At every turn he just keeps getting he's not a good character at all, and you don't necessarily sympathize with him, but watching him you feel bad for him. You just can't help, even though he's involved in this terrible plot of getting his wife kidnapped for money, and it's a crazy one. But the Coen brothers, probably one of their finest works, and I think the one that people kind of equate with their brand of filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because I feel like No Country for Old Men's their serious stuff, and they've got their Big Lebowskis, which is their funnies, and this one seemed to kind of blend them both to like this is what the Coen brothers are all about.
Yep.
Well, considering he only watched, I guess, 3 movies this week.
I watched 3.
I watched a couple. And again, I've been trying to watch movies that are new to me, so the last couple have been rewatches. But I watched Nymphomaniac, Volume 1 and 2. Now, again, that's 4 hours long, so I didn't sit down on the couch, stare at the TV for 4 hours. I was up, I was cleaning, and by the way, this is a very weird cleaning movie. You know when you can put on those movies, you hear them in the background, you walk in, and you just kind of sit down? This was one of those movies where I was like cleaning, doing stuff, and I would come in and sit down for 20 minutes, and just like shocked. But anyway, it's Lars von Trier who did, the only other thing that I've seen him do was Antichrist, which was a whole... If you ever want to watch some disturbing stuff, people, if you're ever in that mood, like you just want to feel disgusting and depressed, do you ever get like that? Because I get like that.
Yeah.
It's like you want to watch something you almost shouldn't see, and so you put in something like just terrible and depressing, and that Antichrist is the perfect movie for that, if you ever want to feel that way. But it's just basically about Charlotte Gainsbourg. Charlotte Gainsbourg, who was also in Antichrist, is telling her life story to Stellan Skarsgård. She's found beaten to a pulp in an alley, and she is a self-proclaimed nymphomaniac. She describes how she became so obsessed with sex and how it took over her entire life, and it's really depressing, especially by the end of it. The last couple scenes of Volume 2, or the last, I'd say 5 minutes of Volume 2, the whole story comes full circle, and you realize what Lars von Trier was trying to like convey this whole time, and it's just so like gut-wrenchingly sad and depressing, but it just leaves you feeling empty. There's no hope. There's no happiness. It's just like, God.
So you're saying I should bring it to my holiday functions?
I'm saying this is a movie you want to watch with your parents. This is a movie you want to break out Christmas.
You're 5 years old now, son. It's time to watch Nymphomaniac.
But Dad, I already saw Volume 1. That's what we're watching too. Another movie that I watched, which was the first time I've ever seen this, was Big Trouble in Little China. Have you ever seen this?
I watched it end of the last year for my challenge.
Okay, yeah. This was just always a movie that I had heard rumblings about. I'm a huge fan of John Carpenter. Yep. And this one kind of died at the box office. Wasn't a huge critical hit either, and so it just kind of got shuffled off, but then kind of gained a little bit of a cult status on home video, DVD, and VHS and whatnot. And so I picked up the Blu-ray, and I was pleasantly surprised. It's an interesting little mix of like magic and sorcery and like the John Carpenter like action, and there's a little horror-y like because of some of the makeup effects and stuff, and like it's just kind of a cool little hodgepodge of stuff that makes it feel kind of completely original. Like there aren't a lot of movies I can compare to this.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's a very fun adventure film at the root, I guess, of it, and it has all these different elements, and it's like this really cool action movie star thrown into this like Chinatown sorcery movie, but it has like this adventure vibe because like you don't know what's gonna happen next, kind of when you first see it. And
this normally comes in this next section where we talk about the movies that I bought that week, but this happens to be a movie that I also watched, and a movie that I'd never seen before, and it's Matchstick Men. And this is the DVD because I picked it up because I wanted to see if I would like it before buying the Blu-ray, because it was only $2 on DVD, so I figured, what the hell.
Yep.
But this movie is great. It's basically Sam Rockwell and Nicolas Cage's two con artists. He's just neurotic, OCD, all kinds of just these weird disorders that makes him like barely function in day-to-day life without like pills and whatnot. But it's got a great twist that really makes you like sad at first, but then you think about it and it kind of makes sense with what you've seen before. And it's just a really a smaller scale film from Ridley Scott. Like he's usually known for his big budget action spectacles, and this was just a really cool character piece. Kind of a dramedy, but again, it is very heartfelt and comedic, and a great performance actually from Nicolas Cage. One of his last like good acting performances.
The last film I had seen this week, one of the 3, was Midnight Special. We've actually both watched it today, and it has a very limited run, and so you might have a hard time finding it, but I recommend it highly. So the biggest thing I like about Midnight Special is, so the filmmaker Jeff Nichols, he wrote and directed Shotgun Stories, Take Shelter, and Mud. That was the most recent film, and then before this, and then so all feature Michael Shannon, and he's known for like the more like small drama films, like a lot of indie production kind of style. And I was excited because this is his first studio film, his first sci-fi. I wanted to see what he could do with that ability or that take. And it's so evocative of the older movies where you have to explain a lot. Like you're not force feeding the plot and narrative down people's throats. So it's kind of like it's very bare bones in what it tells you. It shows you and slowly fills you in over the course of the movie what's going on. And of course, it leaves a lot of questions at the end to be answered. But those kinds of movies are ripe with this discussion, like
for sure.
Like the end of Inception, for example. We're talking at supper. We're trying to piece together like the movie. Like
very ambiguous. Did this mean?
Yeah, but it works really well. I liked it a lot. It's probably my favorite movie of the year so far, which is pretty crazy. Not a lot out. That's good, but it's pretty good.
The performances were all very great. In particular, Michael Shannon and Joel Edgerton. I really enjoyed their interplay. I can understand, though, how it would frustrate a lot of viewers who are used to having a nice, tidy bow on the end of the movie. It's not one of those movies. If you're going into this with a lot of questions regarding the trailer, you will leave the movie theater with just probably as many questions, honestly.
Probably.
I don't know if this is my favorite Jeff Nichols film. I really loved Mud. And Take Shelter was really good, too. But this is right up there. And I'm really excited to see what he does further on in his career.
Agreed.
He's a huge talent in movies right now.
Yeah. That were the movies we've seen.
Yes. So now we're going to move on to the stuff I got that week.
There we go.
So,
Matchstick Men aforementioned.
Yes. So, as mentioned last week, been picking up some DVDs, been doing some old school catalog buying because I want them before they go away forever. If they don't come to Blu-ray, so I'm just making sure I got everything covered. But the first one, incidentally, is a Blu-ray, and that's Krampus. We both saw this in theaters back when it came out, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't one that I liked as much as I hoped it would because I was a huge fan of Trick or Treat, which was Michael Dougherty's other film, also holiday horror themed. If you look at it as it's a Christmas movie where dark things happen, almost like a Gremlins or a movie of that ilk, it makes a lot more sense. It's not an R-rated, gore-heavy movie. It's more of a, just think of it a kid's movie gone south very quickly and like the darkness that can come from that. And I think you'll enjoy the movie a lot more. I know I did when I started thinking about it a lot in that frame of reference.
Okay. When I came out of it, I was kind of disappointed. The trailer had a lot of potential. And I think the more I think about it too, the more I want to see it again.
Yeah.
I'll probably just wait till the holidays to do it.
Exactly. This is a movie that I could see possibly adding to my like holiday lineup. Yep. Another movie that I picked up that I haven't seen is Kinsey. Have you ever seen this?
I have not.
It looks just like a good biopic.
Yep.
You know. The next one I picked up was Ghost Ship. And look at this. This is like old lenticular slip, dude. Yeah.
I used to have that one actually.
These are the old Warner Brothers clip cases.
I hated
Only
those
Warner Brothers would do this.
Hated those so much. Yeah. I think it has one of the best like death scenes.
I was gonna say this was $2. I spent $2 for the opening of this movie.
Yeah, it's great. No, it's a pretty average horror movie.
It came out. It was by Dark Castle, who did 13 Ghosts and the House of Wax remake and House on Haunted Hill, I believe, as well. All those kind of like resurgence of remakes of old Vincent Price era type horror movies. And this one, so it was produced by Robert Zemeckis, I remember. But yeah, it's a fine horror movie. It's whatever.
Alright,
yeah, exactly. The next one I picked up was Elephant. Have you ever seen Elephant?
I have.
You have seen it?
Wait, yes, I have. Yes, a long time ago.
Okay. This movie, I rented from Netflix when I first got Netflix, probably like 5 or 6 years ago now.
Wait, you can rent from Netflix?
Yeah, back when you rented DVDs from Netflix. And it's by Gus Van Sant. It won the 2003 Cannes Jury Prize and Best Director. And Gus Van Sant, of course, the director of Milk and Good Will Hunting, so I was expecting really big things from this movie. It affected me in a way that's weird because I can't necessarily recommend the movie or even say that it was a good movie. Because I remember watching the first 70 minutes of this as just conversations in a high school. It all takes place in one day in just a modern, regular American high school, and you're just eavesdropping on these conversations that are happening all over the school. You don't know these people. It's almost like walking through a high school. It's so well done that you literally just feel like you're listening to bits of conversation, but you have no reference for what they're talking about, who they're talking about, so you're just like, I don't know what I'm watching.
Yeah.
And then slowly you begin to realize that it's not a normal day, and that it's about pretty much two kids planning a school shooting. And so it deals with a day in the life of teenagers during a school shooting. And it gets to that point. That's the climax. That's the end. And I remember when it did end, it was a movie that I honestly, like the cover says, unforgettable. I really couldn't forget it. It was just like, it stuck with me. And I've thought about it from time to time. So this is a movie that I don't know if I'll ever watch again. But I bought it just because it was, I don't know, it was one that has always stuck with me. And I know that means something. I don't know quite what.
It's cool in the sense of kind of diving into the mind of one of these people who commit these school shootings and seeing their day, like the day of, the anticipation of building towards that point. But man, it's such a sad, one of those, like you said, it's one of those things you don't want to watch again. It's like Schindler's List.
Yeah, there's no catharsis or anything at the end. It cuts before you see like a certain thing that not necessarily you want to see, but you kind of need to see just for finality and certain things. But it just cuts. It doesn't care. it's very frustrating, but again, I really can't forget it. So it's a movie that I feel like should have been in the collection. And then I picked up Wayne's World. I just realized they didn't have Wayne's World. I had to pick it up. Just a movie I hadn't seen in a while. Yeah. Just a really funny movie. Directed by Penelope Spheeris.
Yeah.
Who did Black Sheep. She did a couple of 90s comedies. But yeah, if you haven't seen Wayne's World, just a great movie developed. Probably one of the few great SNL comedy-inspired movies. Skits to movies, anyway.
Yeah, it's one of the first too. And it's funny how well it breaks the fourth wall. Parodying movies of that time frame, and it's just such a fun time.
It is.
Such a great time with that. I loved it.
I've been waiting for this movie to come out on Blu-ray forever. It still hasn't, so I figured I might as well just pick up the DVD. If it comes out on Blu-ray, this is a movie I will get on Blu-ray.
That's bizarre to me.
I know, and it's Punch Drunk Love. I'm surprised Criterion hasn't picked this up or something.
Right.
But this was Paul Thomas Anderson's fourth movie. It came right after the success, though, of Boogie Nights and Magnolia, and he was doing these big, like 2.5 to 3 hour long, dramas about so many different people and everything. And then his next movie starred Adam Sandler, and people were very confused. And it's a 90-minute romantic comedy set in this world of this guy who's completely just on the brink of just losing it. Yeah. But I think this is Adam Sandler's by far his best performance. Yes. One of my favorite movies he's ever been in, and one of my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies. I think this is a very underrated movie in his canon. People don't really talk about this movie much anymore. No. Philip Seymour Hoffman's also great in it.
Yep.
And then the last movie I picked up was Slither.
Yep.
Again, another movie that's not on Blu-ray that was just a cool 80s horror movie throwback to like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Cool cast, Nathan Fillion, Michael Rooker, Elizabeth Banks.
Yep.
Just a really enjoyable movie. If you're a fan of 80s horror flicks or science fiction movies, the bad B movies, this is a really good B movie.
Yeah.
But now we're moving on to movie news, right, Jamie?
Yes, indeed.
What do we got?
Jason Bourne.
Yes.
I never really liked the Bourne series that much.
No? Okay.
It never struck my nerve,
Yeah. I thought they were a little overrated, but I enjoy all three of the Bournes. I liked Legacy, was fine.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where they go with this. This looks like a cool trailer. Again, I don't really know what he's discovering, because it seems like the past 3 movies he's just been trying to find the same stuff out again and again. But
it's like Jason Bourne, like every time.
No, you can count on like the same lines being in every trailer. Like, guys, wait a minute, that's Jason Bourne.
I thought he'd gone. He's come back. It's always like behind a desk or behind a computer, looking on a monitor. I don't know.
Doesn't look as shaky as Paul Greengrass has been, though, in the past. Like, I remember Supremacy really, it was like a lot of shaky camera. I like the addition of Alicia Vikander and Tommy Lee Jones to the cast, so that would be good. But again, I'm excited for it. Not something I'm holding my breath for, though.
Yeah. So let's just get the trailers out of the way. Actually, the one I'm really excited about is called The Founder. It's the story of Ray Kroc.
Yes.
Played by Michael Keaton, the founder of McDonald's. And I knew he was the founder, that's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
But the trailer, I didn't know of all the history behind, like, the animosity between him and then the original, like, owners of the original chain.
Yeah, like a social networky kind of McDonald's. Nick Offerman, cool cast.
Yeah. I'm excited to see Michael Keaton play another role like that. I think he's definitely in, like, his renaissance. Keaton-essence, like reconnaissance.
Exactly.
Doesn't flow off the tongue as well?
It doesn't. We gotta get a word for that. The Keatoning?
The Keatoning. I'm excited for it.
Me too.
Good cast. So we'll see how that looks. It's in August.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're not making this like an award season push.
September, October would have been better because just of all the stuff coming out in August. You just kind of get swallowed up by the rest of the Hollywood stuff. So, the remake, Magnificent Seven, the trailer came out for that.
Yes, it did.
Anton Fuqua, Training Day.
Yep, The Equalizer. Yep. He's got quite a broad range of work, actually.
Right. It looks fun. I mean, I'm not like super excited for it. I'm not a big fan of westerns, so I'll watch them when they're good. But I haven't seen the original. I haven't seen Seven Samurai. I've
been getting more into especially some of these newer age westerns that are coming out. They're doing a really good job trying to bring that genre back.
Bone Tomahawk. And,
Slow West. Yeah. Not that the very recent, but The Proposition, movies like that.
310 to Yuma.
The idea of the Magnificent Seven. I'm excited for, I guess. I love the cast. Ethan Hawke's also in there. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yep.
And I think the charm of Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt leading a movie together could just go...
Sounds fun.
Yeah, exactly. Can we talk about the Do-Over trailer?
Yeah. I forgot all about that because it's not a theater release. The Do-Over, I'm surprised...
This is the second Adam Sandler... I think he's doing 6 or something like that?
4.
He's doing 4 direct-to-Netflix films. I guess the Ridiculous Six did decent enough anyway on Netflix for them to keep. Well, you already signed a deal, so whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah, they said it was the most viewed-watched movie on Netflix. I don't know.
Whatever. I didn't see it because it looked pretty awful. This one, I wouldn't say looks good, but compared to the last 3 or 4 Adam Sandler movies, it looks watchable. Like this, it's basically Adam Sandler and David Spade are high school friends that reunite at either a reunion or something, or
reunion. Yep.
And they decide that they're gonna fake their deaths, but the people that they take their identity are even in more trouble than they were. But it looks like there's a couple funny bits. Like David Spade actually looks like
he's playing a character.
Yeah, he's playing a character.
Same for Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler, the biggest problem with him nowadays is he's playing a character who has no issues.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with him. He just kind of goes through scene to scene and everything around him happens.
It just seems like there's a plot. It just seems like there's like, no, honestly, like not being a dick, but like the last couple of movies it's just been like shit from him. And
yeah, here's all my friends. I mean, Nick Swartzen's
but like Slick's funny. Like him as like a hitman or something.
Right.
Like whatever. Like
great.
Just compared to, I'm not saying it looks good. It'll probably be terrible. But honestly, I holding out hope that it might not be, awful. Plus, he hasn't done, other than That's My Boy and I think Funny People, he hasn't really ventured into R-rated. And this looks like it's going for a hard R.
Oh, yeah.
So, it could be kind of funny. I don't know. We'll see. It's probably bad.
And then the only other trailer, really, that of note that I could find was the latest, I think the 3rd X-Men Apocalypse trailer. They're gearing up for the release next month, so we're about a month out. And the biggest thing about it, at the end, they have a Wolverine tease. Yeah. Just saw his claws. I mean, you knew he'd be there somewhere in a small amount of time.
Yep.
I'm kind of really tired in general. We can probably talk about this another day. Of the Hollywood trailer system. Like there's a teaser, trailer 1, trailer 2, sometimes even trailer 3. It's kind of frustrating that way. But I'm a big fanboy of Marvel, and I love the X-Men. Grew up with them, so I'm really excited to see that.
I really liked First Class and Days of Future Past, so I'm excited for this new X-Men kind of thing that they're doing with the time travel aspect.
Finished a trilogy.
Yeah, Again, this one seems, I don't want to say it got lost in the shuffle, but this one kind of pales in the comparison, I feel like, the hype for, Captain America and the Suicide Squad and the other bigger movies that necessarily in another year, X-Men Apocalypse would have been like, a bigger draw.
I mean, you say that, but then like Deadpool's the #1 X-Men movie by a lot.
It's true.
So I want to see. I'm fascinated to see where this falls into the overall like box office gross.
Yep.
All right. So Disney announced a whole slate of live-action adaptations of their films. Like a lot of them have been known. Like Maleficent 2 has been officially announced. Jungle Book 2 is officially announced. Surprise there.
I'm glad about that one.
Yeah. Cruella.
Starring Emma Stone. They're going to do a whole movie based on Cruella DeVille.
Like an origin story?
We needed an origin story, though, for Cruella DeVille.
Damn it.
I'm wondering how many of these characters... It just seems like they're mining the same 30 ideas that Disney was founded on, and they just keep pulling and doing the same thing in just different ways. And I can't really bad talk it because they've had some successes. They've had some great successes with that, but it's getting a little old.
Beauty and the Beast was coming out next year.
Yep. And that one, Bill Condon's doing that one. It could be interesting. I like the cast.
And there's a Tinkerbell movie being produced with Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
That's Tinkerbell. Hasn't been confirmed with a date yet, but I don't know.
I have no stake. I don't care.
Sure.
I do not care.
Speaking of unnecessary sequels, Goosebumps 2 has been officially announced.
Really?
The only person not attached yet is Jack Black.
Okay.
Everybody else is back. Everybody else. Producer, writer, director. Don't know why.
The other cast?
I don't know.
Okay.
No cast has been announced, actually.
Like, Goosebumps, I don't know. I was disappointed. We were both disappointed. I didn't hate the movie. I think it's fine. It's whatever. I don't know. I kind of grew up on the Goosebumps, so I was anxious to see kind of how they'd adapt that to a live action, how they'd pull them in. I don't know. The story itself didn't really work for me. The effects, some of them were pretty bad. The werewolf looked really bad.
Yeah.
But whatever. I don't care.
It was a cool premise. And I guess the execution wasn't really what we should have, I guess, expected to see. Some casting news. J.K. Simmons was announced to have a role in Justice League. And now it's confirmed that he's playing Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
Which is funny, because it's not similar to J. Jonah Jameson, but I don't know, it's kind of cool to see him play such an iconic character.
Yeah, he's got the mustache for it. We all know he can have the mustache for it. And Michael Keaton dropped out of Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, I saw that. But confirmed to be part of it is Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, Iron Man will be in Spider-Man. Yeah, that's cool.
It's like a Spidey team-up from the 70s in the comics, but
And he's going to be his mentor. What I'm reading is that that's going to be kind of the gist of it. Yeah, he's going to be teaching him. That's cool. I'm excited for that.
I heard they had good chemistry in Civil War from what the early reviewers had talked about. And Spider-Man stole the show, so I'm not surprised at all. I mean, essentially what they're doing now is setting up Spider-Man to take over the mantle. There were rumors that they're not even going to try to recast Iron Man, not like Bond. They're going to just retire the character, have people like him, like personality, like Spider-Man or like War Machine for the tech of it, but not to recast him. But now, we talked about this last week, but The Rock is officially signed on for Jumanji.
We did, yeah, that's...
No word on Kevin Hart yet, but he said the script really is based on the original book more so, and then I think it's set in Hawaii?
It's getting a lot of hate online, the fact that they're doing another Jumanji and Rock is signed up, so...
We didn't talk about Blade Runner 2 yet. I think it's funny and kind of terrifying when they do sequels to movies like this that have been not only iconic but long dormant, and it's usually a bad thing.
Yep, it can be good. Mad Max Fury Road.
It's true. This is true.
It can be really bad.
And that's the thing too. I think with the original filmmaker behind it, it's a lot more of a chance for success.
But the director Denis Villeneuve is directing this, and he did Prisoners and Enemy.
Right. So I think really is producing, I believe.
Yes. Ryan Gosling,
and most recently Ana de Armas.
Yes,
from Knock Knock. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I mean, Harrison Ford's back. It's just as many years as from the original as in the film's timeline that it takes place. So they're doing a sequel again, another long dormant, terrifying choice. Mary Poppins 2 with Emily Blunt.
I saw that news, yeah.
I love Emily Blunt, don't get me wrong. A little weirded out.
I don't know how they're doing it. I just don't know how that if they're doing a sequel in real time since it's passed, or if...
Maybe she doesn't age, that's the idea. She's another family.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's going to do a star as Mary Poppins, I guess Emily Blunt's as good a choice as any.
It's pretty good. She is British.
Yeah. She's a lovely actress. If it's going to work, it would work with Emily Blunt, I guess.
But that's probably one of the longer sequel timelines.
I was going to say
63, I think.
Long time.
Oh, man. Little worried because Kevin Feige, Marvel, keeps saying Inhumans is going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But it's now been removed from their release schedule. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're doing with that. Maybe they're reworking it for another phase. But I mean, they've been setting it up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. since end of second season. So it's going to be a matter of time, hopefully.
But they did confirm Captain Marvel, right?
Captain Marvel had been around. No, it's been around. Announced at the same time.
Oh, okay.
But that too got delayed a couple times because of Spider-Man, because of Ant-Man and the Wasp. But it seems like they're afraid of doing these kinds of films because they kept pushing those two back down the line. All right, so out this week, we're talking about films that are coming out this weekend, and the bigger one is the film by Keanu, a biopic of Keanu Reeves.
Absolutely, I was hoping for that. No, I hear from them anyway because I have we text. No, yep. I hear from interviews from them that it's kind of a parody of John Wick, and that it really is based off of, like, which is, if you know the story of John Wick, and the guy's dog gets killed and he goes on a killing spree, it's essentially Jordan Peele's Cats gets taken, and they go to try to get it back. I guess there's a whole slew of comedic comedy cameos throughout from people like Will Forte.
Yep.
Method Man going the opposite, but this looks like a great time. I love a lot of their sketches. Some of them are hit or miss, but for the most part, I think they're really talented writers. And I love what they do with race, them being both black and white, so they're able to kind of make fun of everyone, and it's fine. They just have like a great rapport between the two. I'm really excited for this one. This one looks pretty funny.
Out in a wider release is actually Green Room.
Green Room is a movie I'm very excited for. Directed by the same guy who did Blue Ruin, which was a very tight, claustrophobic revenge film. This one's also kind of a claustrophobic thriller set in a neo-Nazi underground, like, punk rock compound, I guess, where this band goes to play a gig. They see a murder that they should not have seen, and then are trapped there by this group of redneck psychopaths led by Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, which is one of the most shocking parts of the film. He's a really good villain.
His performance is getting great reviews. Yeah. The only other thing that is coming out is that Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank, which is an animation film. It looks really funny. I've heard really good things about it. I mean, it has the tone of the games. It's a really funny series. I haven't played much of it, but I mean, if anything, this might be a good avenue for video game movies to work. You know, with those mascot characters in an animated film, it might work out. That's maybe I think the way Mario could go. in a way that works.
It seems like a good idea to do the film in almost the same animation style as the game. It just seems like it fits. Granted, it doesn't seem like a lot of money maybe went into it. It doesn't necessarily have a big star list, but it makes sense that if you're going to go with a video game property, make it look like the video game.
Yeah.
So every week at the end of the show, we have a little bit of a list. This week's going to be a little less formal. It's not necessarily ranked or anything like that, but normally we always go with like a ranked list, kind of based off of what's coming out theatrically, or just kind of whatever we want. Just a random little list. Last week was our top 15 of 2015. This week, it's best cat movies. With Keanu coming out, Key and Peele's Keanu, we figured we'd go through the world of cinema and pick out some gems with cats. As the film has to be kind of structured around cats in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so it can't just be a movie that features a cat. So Jamie, hit me off with some maybe dishonorable mentions first.
Dishonorable mentions. I mean, let me just go through my list here.
Not a lot of great cat movies when you think about it.
There aren't. The Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas were voiced by Aubrey Plaza. Really weird. Was it like a Lifetime movie?
I think it was a Lifetime movie. Yeah.
Why? Don't even. Garfield and Garfield: A Tale of Two Kitties.
Even Bill Murray hated that movie.
Yeah, of course he did.
So cats and dogs. I remember even as a kid disliking this movie. That being said, I did watch it a bunch of times. Terrible effects. God. It's basically about cats and dogs being spies, international spies against each other. It's just.
What was the second one? Kitty Galore.
The Revenge of Kitty Galore,
which is kind of
one of the rare sequels better than the original. I've never seen it. Can we talk Ghost Cat?
Ghost Cat.
Ellen Page.
I only found out about this an hour ago.
Spectral felines. Just worth a trailer watch on YouTube. Let's talk about some of the good cat movies, Jamie.
My favorite probably is Lion King.
Lion King.
Can't go wrong with that.
You can't. This is a fantastic movie. We contemplated if we should use it or not, but they're cats.
They're
lions
cats.
Are cats. They're felines. All right?
Don't get mad.
Another Disney movie, Oliver and Company.
Yep.
This is a sweet little, I think it was late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. Billy Joel is the lead singer. It's got a lot of good music. It's not a great movie in the Disney canon, but it's an enjoyable little animated movie.
Another one, Aristocats.
The Aristocats,
Not
yes.
bad.
That one's an old Disney movie, too.
Yeah.
That one's dated. I also like the introduction of Puss in Boots and Shrek 2. I actually like this way better than his own movie when he got that.
Shrek 2 was one of the better ones. I think almost better than the first one.
I love Shrek. I think that one's the best, but Shrek and Shrek 2 are very good.
Yep.
And Shrek 2 is, definitely like a worthy sequel to the first Shrek. Very funny. We didn't talk about Cat in the Hat in dishonorable mentions, the Mike Myers.
Oh, shit, we should have.
Yeah, we really should have.
I meant to.
That movie, that's a whole other kind of crazy.
It's atrocious. Well, actually, it's one of my favorite ones. I mean, it has a cat in it. Maybe it's not the lead, but Homeward Bound 1 and 2.
Homeward Bound. The first one especially.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Which is, I guess, a remake of an older film called... Is it called Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey?
That's the first one.
Yeah, The Incredible Journey was the original film.
Original one, okay.
And then there was Lost in San Francisco.
Yeah, that one's okay. That's the sequel. Yeah, that one's okay. The first
right.
one's really good, though. That was back when they didn't have the time or money to animate the mouse moving for the cat.
I prefer it that way.
You could just talk in the background. Michael J. Fox is straight talking in the background. Sally Field. The cat's mouths don't move, they just stare at you. So next week, Jamie, let's talk about our list.
So next week, because in honor of Captain America Civil War, we're going to actually rank all of the Marvel films in our personal preference. You know, I'm excited to see what you think of them.
Yeah, no, this will be good. This is a list that I know definitely we will have differing opinions on because we are just very different in what we like in comic book movies. But this will be an interesting list. I'm excited for this.
My favorite's Catwoman.
The Halle Berry one?
Yep.
So please tune in next week when you can finally hear that list, as well as our thoughts on Keanu when we finally get the chance to see it. A few Blu-rays releasing. There's Joy, which I never got the chance to see. David O. Russell, Jennifer Lawrence. And also there's going to be a Top Gun 20th Anniversary Steelbook Blu-ray that I might be picking up. We'll see.
Might be. You pick
we'll
up every
depending
Steelbook
on the price.
But if you want to keep up with us, we're on Twitter. I'm Guy on a Wire. Also my blog, guyonawire.com.
Brandon Doyle, just my name.
Very simple, one word. And
please like, comment, share. Also, let us know what sort of list you may want us to do in the future of old movies that you want us to talk about. So that's Jamie.
That's Brandon.
And we need movies.